Today, we break down a report that links current Cubs pitcher Jameson Taillon to the New York Mets. No, I'm not kidding with you. What's going on, Metropolitan? This is Mets Digest, your one-stop shop for Mets content all around planet Earth. My name is Lobo Boyce, and I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into our channel. It's a new channel. It's a growing channel. We need your help to grow that channel just a little bit more. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Look, we're getting inching closer to that 1,000th sub. Do us a favor, do your part by signing up to be the first person in the know of things that are happening, especially as we get towards the trade deadline. Myself and Mike D'Angelo are doing crazy things, great things for the team, and making sure we share that news with you. So, today, your boy Flo Pita was at the gym getting gains when he was checking out the Twitter sphere because it is a deadline season. We're trying to see how we can bolster our bullpen. We got some reinforcements, but a lot of them weren't that impressive this past weekend. We split the series with the Braves in a series that was split, but it feels like a loss if you want me to be absolutely honest with you. Ryan Stanek made his debut. And I'm going to leave it at that. Anyway, here's what I saw at the gym today. This one here is from John Heyman over there at Twitter. And it is kind of a doozy. Let me get the little maximum screen for you. It says, scouts are suggesting Jameson Taillon looks fantastic. Mets on the lookout for starters with Senga down. Checked on the New York proven right-handed pitcher, but he may well stay. Carlos Mendoza linked players, ex-Yank Severino, Bader Torrens are all big pluses for New York Mets. Cub sales players undetermined. Interesting. A lot of things to pull from there. See, first things first. Yes, Taillon does have big city experience. Everyone talks about what it means to play in New York City, what it means to be able to practice under the lights or perform under the lights. And he's been doing that not only as a former Yankee, but as a current Chicago Cub. But the Carlos Mendoza connection is something we're not really thinking about way too much. It's true. As long as we've been introduced to Carlos Mendoza, and I'll be the first one to admit, he was new to me. I was not a follower of him in the Yankees bench. He does have a way of whispering to players and being a player's coach, fighting for them when needs be, and having a little bit of that discipline. But the fact that on the radar, the link for Jameson Taillon is someone that can use a little bit of a change of scenery, a little bit of a nudge. I do think that'd be kind of cool to have that there. Because we've been saying this, it seems like a broken record here on the Mets Digest channel. And I think a lot of us are still shell-shocked about last season's trade deadline. Pitching is a priority, and it's not just some bullpen or some reliever. Just give us arms across the board. It seems that Tyler McGill is not going to go anywhere, as this reporting, so why not make him a permanent bullpen mainstay and really get yourself another full-fledged starter, a full-fledged starter that knows what to do in high-leverage situations. So Taillon, as it is right now, win-loss record is a bit above 500, and we were talking about FIP before. We were talking about the other pictures that were personally on our radar in past episodes of Mets Digest. That FIP's a really healthy 3.78, pretty much on par with AL leading Seth Lugo, but that's just not an unfair comparison because Seth is going on his oon MVP run, if I do say so myself. That ERA, though, looks sexy, looks spicy. I like it because even though the team is actually top teams when it comes to high run production, our ERA, our team ERA isn't that great, and it gets worse as a bullpen gets involved. And I do think that if you have someone like Taillon in the mix, it might be a bit of stabilization there, if I do say so myself. You can really play around with the rotation if you would like to really have some parts that don't keep getting swapped out. That back half, we love Peterson. We loved Christian Scott. Of course, Christian Scott's out this season with injury for that shuts him down for the end of the year. But you really want to be able to go to a couple of rotations without having to worry about what's happening next. But there was something about this report that gave me pause. There was something that made me go, where have I heard this before? And I was racking my brain about this. And I remember at the end of Taillon's, Yankees tenure, there really was some discussion about whether or not he would come to Queens back then. Let me see if I can get this over here for you. He says, before this from the New York Post, actually, and I had to go dig deep for this one, but this is actually legit. It says, before heading to the Cubs last year, he was done in the Bronx and thought he was going to the Mets. The Phillies, Mets, and Cubs showed the most interest among many who pursued him, but ultimately the Cubs won the right-hander services despite offering the same as the Mets and a bit less than the Phillies. Quote, I thought I was going to be a Met for a while, Taillon revealed at Cubs camp. And I went, interesting. Now, you can't really pull the emotion or intent from what he said there, but I thought it was interesting that that was actually something he said out loud. Whether or not he was going to stay in New York and go on the other side, that'd be something that'd be great. Whether he's decided to go to another city altogether, in Chicago, that's also great. But now he has a couple years of experience. He does have different styles of play, especially the NL Central. It's a different kind of flavor out there. If the Mets deal for Taillon now, that's somebody I believe that can slot in into the rotation pretty smoothly. And again, stability is what's going to win us games because we all know our parts are okay. Yes, we need pitching. Yes, we need people in the bullpen. Yes, we need the return of the Grimace Shake. But what happens is when one person goes cold with our bats, we want someone to really pick us up. We can't keep putting ourselves in a situation where we're like scoring 8 runs out front and then giving up 6 to 10 runs on the back end and worrying whether or not we're going to win and whether it's going to be a nail biter 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. Not only is that healthy for us, for fans, we get what my mom would call agita. For the players, it really does tax them. And if you really want to go the distance of a season, you really want to have some games that are just buttoned up. Like, okay, great. Now, does Taillon have his own problems? Yes. I mean, let's be real. If you are watching the Cubs this season, they are one of the more spectacular, I won't say full dumpster fires, but dumpster embers I've seen in the NL Central. They had pretty much an open road to dominate, and they have yet to do so, and they have their own issues, even with a Shota Imanaga, which is also a guy on my fantasy team that was conflicted when we played Chicago, and I got minus 22 points, but that's neither here nor there. But I do think if you're in another environment with a more steady stream of bats, the lineup is getting longer for us in Queens as we speak. Alvy's heating back up. JD is showing flashes of what he was doing about a month and a half ago. There's a less pressure on you to even be not even a second option, but to have that mental ace fatigue where you may not be the ace, but you want to overperform to right the ship for your team. We call that trying, we call that leaning. If anyone who's watched the series this week that we played last week against the Yankees, you know the Yankees were trying because their win-loss records weren't good, and that led to mental errors and defensive miscues. So what I'm saying is, if Taillon goes to New York, if he goes to Queens, it may not be just a little bit less pressure on him. Yes, he'll have to deliver, but I don't think the numbers are going to be as wobbly as they are in Chicago. You may actually have a nice place to land. I need to know what you think because as I record this, Kopech from Chicago is a Dodger. Eric Fettig is a Cardinal. There are less and less bodies available on the board. Today on MLB Radio, Jeff Passan said maybe the Mets should look at Blake Snell. Now, if you were the GM and if you were the president of baseball operations, knowing full well you can get whatever you want, whomever you want, would you sign Taillon? Would you sign a Snell? Would you sign someone else? Let us know in the comments below. This is Mets Digest. My name is Lobo Boys. This right here is something special. Subscribe if you haven't already. You're going to be part of something big. We're out.